Record.
Hello, I'm Murray Visser. I'm the District International Service Chair, and I'm here to give an overview of international service projects. We also have a District International Service team with 9 members, each with their own specialty, who can help you with doing an international service project. My reasons for doing international service projects are they can be transformative. It made me realize how fortunate I am with my life here at home after I have done a number of international projects. Second reason, the dollar goes a long ways in developing countries. For example, $25 pays for an eye surgery for one eye in India, and that doesn't cost like much for us, but for poor Indians, that $25 is a lot of money. So that's where we come in as Rotarians. Our district has done a number of global grants, and in particular, Rotary Club of Kihei Wailea, they have started eye clinics to service those poor people who cannot afford eye surgery. Also, there is little or no government assistance for the poor and the ill. Example, a typhoon, also known as a hurricane in Burma or Myanmar, in 2008 caused over 138,000 fatalities. The Burmese government only gave blue plastic tarps to the survivors. Now contrast that to Hurricane Katrina, which was around New Orleans in 2005. It had 1,800 fatalities. This is not to diminish the seriousness of those fatalities either, but many victims of Hurricane Katrina were housed in hotels and new trailer homes. Now, how do we start doing an international service project? All right, we would have to address one of the 7 areas of focus. And here you see 2 of them, but I will read you all 7. Peace and conflict prevention resolution, disease prevention and treatment, water sanitation, the acronym is WASH, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development, and supporting the environment. I also need to tell you the difference between an international club and a host club. An international club is the club that writes up the global grant, that writes up the international service project and finds funding for it. The host club is where the project is being done. For example, if you want to do, let's say, a medical project in Thailand, and you're here in Hawaii, and you're writing up the grant, you are in the international club. And Thailand, where the project is being done, is the host club. Okay, there are a number of different types of international service projects. The biggest one is a global grant. You need at least $30,000 to do one. Now, don't be discouraged by that amount, because when you get the help of other clubs in our district, you can reach that 30,000 minimum fairly easily, and I've done it myself. There's another type of global grant that's called a vocational training team, or VTT. That kind of global grant transfers knowledge from an international club to the host club. Enter the data for the global grant by 1 November, but do not submit the application. Here's an example of a global grant that is being done by the Rotary Club of Honolulu Sunset. All global grants start at the club level. This one is different in that it is sponsored by the district. It's sponsored by District Governor Naomi. And this is what this global grant is for. It's in Nepal. One of the objectives is to reduce gender-based and caste-based disparity, empower low caste or untouchable children through basic education. And District 5000 Rotarians will have the opportunity to visit the school and be involved in the project there. I will be going there with other Rotarians in our district, and we will be there in October. The person that wrote up this global grant is Arjun Aryal, and this is how he was able to reach the minimum of $30,000. He approached 9 other district clubs and the UH Rotaract Club, and they all together contributed to this global grant, and Arjun came up with $46,000. Here's a good example of a VTT. It's going to be in Bhutan, and it's titled Wilderness Medicine. It will be done by Dr. James Ham. It is to train Bhutanese trekking guides in high altitude medical issues to keep mountain climbers safe and provide work for the guides. A good example of a vocational training team that provides sustainable benefits. In other words, the guides will have jobs for a long time to come. Here is a good example of the eye clinics that were established with funding from our district and other districts. This one is the Carol Bach Rotary Eye Care Center in India, and our district, and in particular, Rotary Club of Kihe-Wailea has opened a number of these eye clinics and found funding for it. Here are the patients. They have just gone through cataract surgery, and they could not afford the $25 for the surgery, but they were given the surgery for free. There's some close-up pictures. There's a boy to the right. He had his eye operated on, and he will keep his vision for the rest of his life. Same for this older man. He will also keep his vision for the rest of his life. As you know, last year was the COVID year, and some funding had to be given to COVID-related problems, but we were still able to come up with some money together with other districts. We bought 4 ambulances for India, and these ambulances will transport COVID patients to hospitals and clinics. This is a good example of a global grant for school and education. It is for supplies and equipment in Bolivia, and it's done by the Rotary Club of Hanalei Bay. Here you see some students of the school, and this global grant also provides training for the teachers, and it also provides training for the parents so they can help their own children acquire a better education. Here is another VTT. It has been done since 2015 by Richard Ziegler, and it's for craniofacial malformations. We know them as cleft lip and cleft palate medical problems. This is done in Romania, and you can tell here, this boy before the operation, he has a cleft lip, and after the operation, he looks quite good. Here's another young patient, has no palate, and so a palate was restored, and that young child can have a normal life. It could speak, eat normally. This hospital in Romania will also be expanded so that patients from other countries in Eastern Europe will benefit from these types of operations. All right, I've done a global grant myself. This one is for COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. I found out that about 10% of the Thais have COPD. And what I did with the help of my club and our district, I wrote the grant and got some funding. And before we purchased the new equipment, the patients and the staff in that hospital, which is in Lampang, Thailand, had to use these old metal heavy oxygen cylinders, very unwieldy. They cannot be moved around very well. So the patient had to stay in the bed for as long as he needs the oxygen and for as long as he's alive. All right, here's a patient with the new equipment. It's very lightweight and it can be used at home. So it does two things. The patient can be with his or her family, and also it will vacate the beds in the hospital for patients of another type of disease. Our district purchased 74 of these new COPD machines, and I chose this one because it can be used by 3 patients. There is no cure for COPD, but it can go from 1 patient. On the average, a patient will lengthen his or her lifespan by about 5 years with this equipment. So when that patient dies, it goes to the next one, and then on to the third one. And so we have been able to lengthen the lifespans of over 200 patients with this global grant, with this new equipment. All right. What do you do if you don't want to do a global grant, but you want to still be part of one? You can do a global grant with a matching grant, and you can check our district website for a list of global grants that are sponsored by our own local clubs. You can just simply piggyback onto it with a matching grant. Matching grants are funded by your club's cash and district grant funding. And you can contact Mark Harbison, who is the district foundation vice chair, for more information. Or you can use a district grant for an international projects for far less than $30,000. I've done those too, and I've done some for much less than 30,000. However, a district grant for international service projects have to be completed in 1 Rotary year and must be submitted by 1 August. Here is a water and sanitation project in Papua New Guinea, which is a favorite type of project for Dr. James Ham. He likes doing those. There he is in the lower right-hand corner in New Guinea. I've done a water and sanitation program myself in northern Thailand. And here in a village called Tamajarik. Now, these people that you see are not Thais. Thus, they don't speak Thai. I mean, of course, they don't speak English either. They are hill tribe people, 2 different hill tribes that fled the fighting in Myanmar, and they went across the border to settle in northern Thailand. This is the water that they drink from. This source of water is in the jungle, about a quarter of a mile away, and the women of the village every day have to walk through the jungle and over this bridge to get to this source of water. Can you imagine the time it takes just to get drinking water and cooking water each and every single day? All right, we completed the project, and the water ends right in the middle of the village. So the women no longer have to walk to get the water in the jungle. There are 30 families in that village, and let's say there are about, on the average, 5 people per family. So at least 150 people got a benefit from this project, and the project was only $4,000. Trafficking is a big problem, and here in northern Thailand, as elsewhere too. And these 2 girls were trafficked by their own uncle. But they were rescued by some Catholic nuns and by Rotarian Carol, who decided to retire in northern Thailand. And she's a member of the Rotary Club of Mae Chan. Here they are. The girls got rescued. My club gave some funding, and other clubs gave funding too, so that these girls not only are rescued, but they can are put in school dorms where they are safe. They can complete their education all the way through high school and beyond so they can have a proper job and have a good life ever after. All right, you can participate in a Rotary International Exchange Program. And there are more than 4 here, and I will read you the rest of them. The easiest one to do is International Travel and Hosting Fellowship. It's an informal, open to any interested individual, and it's a fun way to make international friends and share a common passion. It's been my experience that the common passion is travel. You can do group cultural exchanges, and these are for Rotarians and non-Rotarians. You can do Rotary friendship exchanges. It can be done by an individual or a team. There are new generation exchanges for young people ages 18 to 25. It has to be done by club or district. And here is the formal open world program with Eastern European countries and Russia. The really good thing about this program is paid for by Congress, and Rotary doesn't have to pay for it. Our district did one in the fall of 2019 with 8 Russians. And then there's the youth exchange program, ages 15 through 19. It can be done either long term or for the short term. I've done most of these. They have been very rewarding, and I highly suggest that you do at least one or more. And this is one type of international service project where you don't even have to leave Hawaii. You can stay right here. All right. Rotary Friendship Exchange themes are culture, experiences that highlight a region's ethnicity and more, service, hands-on project involvement, vocation, exploring professions in a different cultural context. Here's the example of the open world program I just mentioned. It was the overall coordinator was past district governor Steve Yoshida. He is in Hilo. On this island, past district governor Winton Shoneman organized it on Oahu. And here we are with the 8 Russians. Okay, here are the Merriams at a dinner with our Russian hosts. Here are the Hobans with at the same dinner, and this Russian right here, I hosted him at my house, and a number of other people hosted these Russians at their homes. The Merriams did, Winton did, Steve did, and some other people. They really enjoyed Hawaii. I think they want to come back here. Okay, I've done a number of ITHFs, International Travel and Hosting Fellowships. I had to go to Thailand a couple of times to check on that global grant that I did there. And I turned one of the trips into an ITHF. These in the front right here are Thai Rotarians who drove as much as 2 hours to meet us at the Chiang Mai airport. And in the back are Rotarians from our district. And here to the right, there's this giant soup bowl, and it was made by my host partner, past district governor Anurag Napawan. He has a very large porcelain factory, and he made a very large soup bowl out of some of the porcelain. And here you see Rotarians from our district in the soup bowl and some Thai Rotarians all having fun. This is an example of a new generation exchange. And here are the 2 students. They're from Thailand. And Laurie Williams hosted them at her house. She had a nice dinner for them. I asked 8 Rotarians from 8 different clubs to help me host these students because they were here for 30 days. And I also hosted them too. We had a good time with these students and they really liked Hawaii. All right, here's my wife and I. We did another ITHF, this with a Russian named Irina. She's also a member of the We Rotary Club in our district. And Irina really had a great time here in Hawaii. And she invited my wife and I to stay at her home with her husband on Sakhalin Island. There are international banner exchanges. There's Dr. James Ham, and that's his wife right there. And he was doing a banner exchange in a really far away country, Bhutan, at the Rotary Club of Thimphu. And out of this banner exchange came the project that I told you about, training trekking guides in wilderness medicine. And Dr. James is going to do this project in November. So you never know what comes out of these international exchanges. All kinds of good things can happen. All right, you can start a sister club, also called twin clubs. And these are clubs from two different countries that form a long-term relationship to promote international understanding and to carry out service projects in their communities. And I need to tell you that if you start a sister club relationship with a Rotary Club in Asia, they take that very seriously. Long-term relationship can mean years, and they will roll out the red carpet for you. But of course, you have to reciprocate. Here are more projects you can do. You can participate in National Immunization Day for Polio Plus if they are still accepting volunteers. And there are Rotary International Project fairs that you can attend. For more information, Google Rotary Project Fairs. At these project fairs, they are held in other countries. You can go there and meet host Rotarians, and they will tell you what kind of projects they need for you to do in their country. Here's Steve Yoshida, and he is at a project fair in Ecuador. And there's his wife, Noko. And he made many friends there, and he came up with a lot more international service project ideas from having been in Ecuador. All right. You can nominate qualified international individuals for global scholarships. They are due 1 May, and they are funded with global grants and district grants. And it's for graduate level coursework or research for 1 to 4 academic years. You can do a Rotary World Peace Fellowship, which is due 31 May, and Rotary Awards fully funded fellowships for dedicated leaders from around the world to study at one of our peace centers. The person that is the specialist in this is Alan Kutsunoki. He's on the District International Service team. Ask him how you can get started on this. There's the avenue of peace and conflict resolution. It's to implement Rotary's international peace and conflict prevention and resolution in areas where there's conflict, and you can make your club part of this. It is to build stronger, more harmonious communities and a more peaceful world. To assist in Rotary's mission to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace. For more information, go to our district website down here, and you can find much more. The person that specializes in this is Mark Harbison, so you can contact him. He's also on the team, and you can ask him for help. All right, here's some pictures for peace and conflict resolution. Steve Yoshida, he organized a peace conference in 2013. The main speaker was Aung San Suu Kyi, who was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and thus Rotarians from all over the world came here to Honolulu. One of them happened to be Anurag Napawan, the man who's my host partner for that project in the hospital in Thailand. Here he is watering a plant for peace. Okay, here's Steve Yoshida. He has a 3-acre peace garden in Hilo, and it's a work in progress. I photographed his peace plaque. It's in Japanese. It says "Pray for Peace," but I found it on a castle wall in Germany. So this tells me that the quest for peace is a universal goal. All right, this is what our team is all about. The purpose is to work with local clubs to develop international projects of higher quality by leveraging local Rotarian expertise, establishing connections between Rotarians in our district, between clubs in our district, and to make connections in other districts, and to create a network of local experts. This is what our team is all about. We're the local experts. Of course, there are people that are not on the team that are also experts at doing international service projects. The team has an advisory role and is interested in your success with international projects. The team roster is at our district website right here, and you can go there to see who all the people are on that team, but I will read the names to you and what their specialties are. There's Arjun Aryal. He has a PhD in geophysics, and he does the projects in Nepal because he was born and raised there, which only makes sense. Sam Bullo is a financial literacy specialist. Some of these people on the roster carry dual hats. They're not only on the team, but they do other things for the district. For example, Dr. James Ham, he's the district global grants chair. Mark Harbison is the district Rotary Foundation vice chair. George Kelsey is an expert in logistics, construction, and maintenance. Alan Kusunoki, as I said before, he is an expert in global scholarship and Peace Fellow, and he's a Peace Fellow chair. And if you want to know something about Peace Corps, and Peace Corps is an official together with Rotary, they are officially connected. And Alan Kusunoki has been in the Peace Corps, so he knows all about Peace Corps. There is Dr. Paul Morose. He's a pediatrician, and he's right now writing up a global grant to standardize pediatrics in the Pacific Basin. Then there's John Osus, who is the South America area specialist. He just did that project in Bolivia that I was telling you about, and it's my understanding that John is the first Rotarian in our district that did a global grant in South America. And finally, there's me. I'm the team leader. Okay. I hope that this overview of international service projects has been worth your time and will encourage you and your club to do an international project in the near future. Thank you.